Welcome to another episode of Happy Hope Life Podcast. I am dancing, bouncing in my chair right now. I was actually dancing even before we recorded this episode. I was like, I'm so excited for today's episode. We are joined by Pearl, aka the founder of Bio-Rave. And I'm so excited. As soon as you entered the Zoom room, we were talking about this before I hit record, but I was like, I'm envisioning us like the Zoom room dissolves and we're just on the dance floor together. And the whole time we're having this conversation, we're actually maintaining it while just like raving and dancing and like going absolutely wild. But oh, hello. Oh, Pearl, I would love for you to just say hi and let your presence be felt and known on this podcast, on this space.
Hello, beautiful humans that are listening. My name is Pearl. I'm so freaking happy to be here. I'm a huge fan of Michelle. She is like such a powerhouse on the internet with her movement and expression. I'm so excited to talk about all the juicy things that we both vibe on, and I'm happy to be here.
Yay. And Pearl, I'm remembering, I believe we connected through our friend Irene. Shout out Irene Veronica. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
I remember
Irene is
just like,
amazing.
I know, Irene, I love you. You're amazing. I remember, I think it was, of course, it was like a dancing video. It was one of the first things that I came across from you. And I just remember feeling so lit up and alive consuming your content. And like, it made me feel so seen and understood because I was like, yes, like she gets it. She understands that dance is medicine and just the way that you move and the way that you embody this essence of freedom. And, I feel like one of my friends, she always says like that authenticity has an aroma. It's not about what it looks like or how flashy it is or how bold it is or anything like that. It's just like when you see someone who's embodied in just the most authentic expression of their soul, it's just like you smell it, you feel it, you taste it when you come across their content or when you meet them in person. It's just something about their aura that just like whoosh, draws you in. And I immediately felt that when I came across you. I was like instant follow. I was like, what is this woman up to in the world? And then I found your Bio-Rave community and I was like instant follow to that. But I'd love for you to share. I mean, one, people are probably like, Bio-Rave, that sounds cool. What is that? I'd love for you to share just about what is Bio-Rave? What does dance mean to you?
Yeah, I love that. I'm so happy you felt the same because I felt the same about you. And thank you so much for sharing that and appreciating just like expression dance. Oh, my heart. Okay. Bio-Rave, dance, my whole entire life put into like a business idea. So basically, I really struggled mentally for a long time. And my sister passed away. She also had her own mental health struggles. And she ended up taking her own life. My little sister, she was like 16. And that really fucked me up. And my whole life I was never taught how to process emotions, was never taught how to feel, wasn't given permission to cry, to express, to show my anger, my sadness, like all these feelings. So I just never had the tools to do it and I just bottled it up. And so after my sister passed, I was feeling immense grief, immense, like deep, dark emotions. And I just was so overwhelmed with how to navigate. I was like, I don't know how to. I didn't have the tools or the capacity to. And so I remember I went to a session with a counselor after, like a grief counselor, and he was like, what do you love doing? And I was like, honestly, dancing. Like I've always loved dancing, even before this everything happened. Like a big part of our culture. I'm African. I was born in Ghana, so dance is a huge part of our culture. It's the way we communicate, it's the way we celebrate, it's the way we just do our life. Like dance is so big in Africa. So I've always loved dancing. And so when he asked me that, I was like, like dancing. He's like, well, yeah, then go and do that. And so I started dancing every day as a way to heal, as a way to feel, as a way to process my grief. And honestly, dancing was the only moment I felt alive. Every other time in my day, in my life, I felt like I wanted to die. Like I hated my life because of how sad I was. And dancing was the only time I felt a glimpse of, oh, like keep going. Oh, there's hope. Like you can feel okay again. Like, yes, this happened, but you'll be okay. So I started dancing every day. And as that's evolved, I'm also a health coach, used to be a dietitian. I'm very into the health space and the wellness space. And as I've evolved and I still dance every day, it's a big part of my like daily non-negotiables. I love going out to dance, but there's no space that I feel really supportive that's going to help my well-being. It's all about staying out late and drinking and doing drugs. And like, I love festivals. I love going out to be in the sunshine and dancing my booty off, but it's always revolving around substances, or I have to be intoxicated, or I have to do XYZ in order to dance and have fun. And it really like rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, you don't have to do anything. You can just dance. You can just literally dance. And I was like, why can't we just dance? Like, hello. So I just want to create a space. So Bio-Rave is actually all about creating healthy spaces for people to go dance and to use. The name came from because I biohack as well, using biohacking in ways that elevate your well-being and optimize your energy and like get your body back to its natural state while you rave. So I combine different aspects of biohacking as we rave and dance. My parties end early. We do breath work together. We meditate together. We do so many beautiful things. We have a dance party, and it's just such a beautiful opportunity to go dance and still elevate your well-being. And we're all sober, and it's such a vibe. So I host those parties in Vancouver, and I'm going to be doing more all over the world in the future because Bio-Rave is going to be huge. And that's a really big part of my mission on earth, is to help people dance and unlock the magic of dancing.
Oh my goodness. I was just like dancing the whole time that you were speaking, Pearl, and even just hearing this piece of your story too with your sister passing away and just dance being medicine and nourishment for you to heal and to feel alive again and to feel a purpose for living again and just hearing this just like such a deep piece of your mission. It's helping people access that for themselves, no matter where they are in their lives, no matter what they're feeling, no matter what their circumstances look like. It's you can get up or you can dance lying down, you can dance sitting down, you can dance whatever it looks like for you. It doesn't matter, but move your body in whatever way feels good and access that part of you that I do feel like for me, it's like when I dance, there's that moment where you just drop in. And it's just like it's you and your body, it's you and your soul. Like nothing else matters, nothing else exists. You're just so in this kind of beautiful flow state. And
Mm.
for you, then combining it with you wanted a space to be able to dance and play, right? Like as adults, we need spaces where we can play. But so often as adults, like play equals like go out and do drugs with your friends, or go out and drink with your friends. And it's like, well, or I could not do that. I don't like staying out really late. I like going to bed at like early grandma bedtime. And it's
Yeah.
beautiful that you've been on this dance healing journey for yourself and for your own heart and for your own healing, but then creating this bigger mission and this bigger purpose of just like spreading dance and bio-rave, like you said, like all over the world. In my mind, I'm like, bio-rave has already taken over the world. You have pop-ups in like every corner of the earth. And something I resonated too with what you said of, just dance being such a big part of your culture and reconnecting to your roots in that way of like, no, dance is just, it's weaved into my bloodline. It's weaved into my lineage. It's part of who I am. As soon as you spoke that, I just like got so many chills. And I'm curious for you, mm, like when you were navigating and everything felt really heavy and difficult. And I'm curious when you turned on music, and even now, like when you turn on music and enter into this just like state with your body, what do you feel is the deepest medicine that dance gives to you? Or like if there was a nutrient that dance just like I'm imagining like you just like open the hatch and just like pour in this nutrient. Like what do you feel is it about dance that just like like nourishes you on a soul level, on a body level?
Oh, that's such a good question. It's for me, two things come up for me. The first one is it's actually a release for me. So it's an opportunity to release whatever it is, whether that's joy or happiness or sadness or grief or whatever is coming up for me in that moment. It's a release. I get to, move my body and like release the energy, release the emotion. Like I just move in whatever way feels good. And it just feels very expansive. It's like you get to release and like let it go. And yeah, it's like very like a that's the motion I'm thinking, like a people,
Yes.
And the other piece of it is like I feel connected to myself, my soul, and I feel safe and at home, if that makes sense. Like I feel
Mm.
at home. And that's like something I always remind myself, like no matter what's happening, I can put on a song, even without music, honestly. I can just like come to my body and feel at home and feel good and feel safe. And that's also what it brings me to.
Mm. Whoa. I feel like you just spoke into like the deepest crevice of my soul with both of those things. And one reflection I love that you said when you talked about release, it's just like a release of any emotion. It could be joy and like ecstasy and bliss, just like releasing it, amplifying it. But it could also be like the denser, heavier emotions like sadness or grief or anger or whatever it is. Like any reason dance, any reason at all, any emotion. But what you said about feeling safe and at home in your body when you dance, like that resonates with me on such a like just like cellular level, because for me I found dance when I was in a really dark place of healing autoimmune disease, and I was really really sick. I was so sick that I was just like, what's the point? Like, how am I going to get myself out of this? I just wanted to like crawl under a rock and come out maybe someday when I would feel alive and like myself again. And for me, dance, when I would dance, at first, I was too shy to dance even in the light or like in front of anyone. So I would dance in the dark. I would just like turn on some music and I would like dance in the dark, and I'd feel kind of weird and awkward, but something in my soul moved me to music and dance. It was like, you just
Mm,
have to do this. I don't know why, but like you have to dance. And then that's like, I slowly started dancing and becoming more comfortable. But it was exactly that same nutrient. Like dance was a time when I felt safe and at home in my body at a time when I felt so distant and disconnected and at war with my body, because it felt like this one place I get to call home was like raging war against me. So I was like, I'm not safe here. I'm not safe here. And when I was in my mind, I would tell that story. If I'm not safe here, I'm at war. But when I dropped into my body through dance, it was like, wait, no, like my soul and my body are one. Like, yes. And something about like whether it's the beat of a song or even just like the beat of your own breath, the sound of your own breath.
mhm.
It's like you can dance, like you said, you can dance to anything. And it's just for me, it's a really similar nutrient. It's just my body is my home. I'm safe here. It feels like that just like soul sigh of relief when we remember that to be true.
Yeah. I love what you shared there. It definitely resonates. And it's like a remembering. I think oftentimes we get so caught up in our mind and overthinking, and especially with like all the things happening, we're very go, 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 we're very like on a lot of tech and things and that. Like life is busy, we're building, like we're doing all the things, which is great, but we often don't take a moment just to like come back and be in our bodies and remember like what we're really here for, remember like how we get to feel, remember who we are, like what we're actually passionate about. So even taking moments to dance and move also reminds me of like, like okay, this is what I'm here for. Oh, like yes, maybe things are stressful today, but like things are going to be fine. It's like a reassurance piece. I think if more people had that every day, they would be able to just like navigate life way better. And I really believe everyone needs to dance every day. Like, that's my motto. Eat more plants and do more dance on a daily
Yes,
basis.
yes. I'm like pumping my fist right now. Like, eat more plants, do more things.
Seriously.
I couldn't agree more. And, I love that piece of dance. And, I love dance. I love breath work. I love all these really simple practices that bring you back to yourself. And, there's different things. And when we talk about healing modalities and different ways of downregulating the nervous system and all these different pieces, there's so many places you can go. And I feel like things like plant medicine, for example, are so beautiful and amazing, and there's spaces for that. And it's also that's something that's exogenous of you, it's outside of you, which
Yeah.
sometimes like there's a time and a place for that. Like I enjoy plant medicine, I think it's beautiful. And as a breathwork facilitator, as like a dance guide, it's like, wait, we can go within ourselves, and whether it's like with breath work, the power of just consciously using your breath as a healing modality, all of a sudden you have access to this like superhero like strength and healing capacity within yourself. And it's the same with dance. It's just you don't even need music. You don't need a dance floor. You don't need anything. Literally, you could be standing on a patch of grass with your feet on the earth and just dance to the sound of the birds around you. And you could have the time of your freaking life. And that's the thing that I love about dance is it's just like at any moment of any given day, at any point, you can turn inward. And I think that's the beauty of dance is it invites you to turn inward and release and move and feel and just be with yourself. And I'm curious what it's like for you, but for me, it's like when I dance, how do I describe it? It feels like if there are any layers or like heaviness or emotions or things that I've been wearing on my shoulders or heaviness that I've been feeling in my heart, it's like dance just moves and kind of like wiggles and like softens. And as I dance, it's like as those layers get released, whether it's like a layer of joy that I've just been like, ah, I needed a place to go because it was so expensive, or if it was sadness that was like holding and it felt heavy, it's like with dance, it's just like, ah, like a layer who just like whooshes off of my body. And it's like I can like feel it. It's like you feel this kind of lightness and this openness and this space arrive in your body. And I'm curious for you when you're dancing, what does it feel like in your body? I know it's like a such an interesting question, but like for you, when when you're dancing, what does it feel like in your body?
Yeah, that's it really feels different on different days, but most of the time it's like it feels like, yeah, letting go, like releasing, letting go of layers, and whatever's meant to come up comes up. Sometimes I'll be dancing and I'll be like, oh, I didn't realize I felt that way. Cool, let's move through that. Like, oh shit, that's coming up. Cool, you know? Just like letting the body do its thing. And for me, it feels like a lightness, a playfulness. Like I get back into like my childlike sense. Like I'm
Yeah.
laughing, I'm having a good time. I'm like, look at myself in the mirror, and like it's a self-love practice for me. It's like, oh my gosh, like we get to have fun and release this and build more confidence and like work on your mindset. And like depending on the day, obviously, it gets to be different. But yeah, it's like this lightness, it's this playfulness, it's this calming, like remembering like you get to be more lighthearted, like life isn't that serious. It's you get to feel better in this moment because you moved and danced. It's you get
Mm.
to take care of your soul and well-being. It's like a I love you know what I mean? And it's like,
Oh,
yeah, that's kind of the things that come up for me when I think about how it feels. It just feels like a very nourishing moment that I get to have with myself, and it amplifies my joy, my gratitude, and my love for myself and for life in general.
oh, like as soon as you spoke the like the just like I love you piece of I'm dancing like because I love myself. I think that's so beautiful. It does feel like an act of service to self, to dance and to move. And I feel we can't talk about dance without also talking about self-expression. Because
Mhm.
I feel like they're so deeply intertwined. Because one, I feel like dance is this vehicle for self-expression. And I'm curious for you, Pearl, like in your journey with your self-expression and even, in entrepreneurship and creating a movement, there's an element of you have to be willing to take a risk on yourself. You have to like dig deep and find that courageous part of your heart that's like, I'm meant for a really big mission. My soul came here with some really big things to do. And sometimes our human can kind of like get a little gremlin-y and want to like get in the way. And it's like, that's nice. We love that. Amazing. We have fears, we have doubts, but I'm curious for you, in this journey of entrepreneurship and self-expression and using your voice and being a voice of, hey, like if you love to party and like do drugs and alcohol and all that kind of stuff, great, that's great for you. Love that. Love that for you, truly. And if that's not for you, here's another doorway that you get to walk through and just being that powerful voice and offering something different and something unique to people who like clearly people want it. I'm like, yes, I want it. I want to go to a party and I want to go to bed early. And I don't want to drink alcohol because my body hates it because I have those Asian genetics where I always get the Asian flush. Like I never enjoyed drinking alcohol. And
Yeah.
especially with all healing autoimmune disease, I was like, this is not for me. It does not serve me. I don't like the taste of it. I don't like the way I feel. I just feel sick instantly. Like, no. But
Mhm.
that was a whole tangent. But I'm curious for you, what do you feel has supported you in your self-expression journey of using your voice so powerfully and being a voice of this is my way of doing things. And if you want to come along and explore what it could be like for you doing it your way, whatever that might look like, what do you feel has supported you in that self-expression and having that courage to be willing to go first?
Yeah, that's so good. And I actually would love to hear your thoughts too, because you are one of the most self-expressed humans I know on the internet. Yeah, I think for me, what's really supported me was always coming back to like what felt aligned for my soul. So for a long time, like I had the Bio-Rave download like over a year ago before I launched Bio-Rave, like a year before that. I had the download. And I remember coming across a journal entry and I was like literally writing out my vision for healthy parties. I didn't have the Bio-Rave name, but I had the vision like healthy partying, we go to bed early, we do breath work together, we do this. And I had a whole written. And I remember I didn't take action on it because I was scared. Because I was like, I don't know what people are gonna think. Like, is this gonna be a good idea? Like, oh my gosh, can I start this movement? Like, who's gonna come? And I had all these doubts. And I went through another season of like going to festivals and like partying a lot. And I just kept getting such a strong nudge. And I think what really supported me through the process to finally launch it, to finally do the events, and to believe in myself was my soul's deep knowing. Like, it's like sometimes it's hard to describe, but when you know, you know. Like I'm sure you felt this. Like when you know something's meant for you, you know. And like I just remember having the most visceral body experience one day, and I was like, oh my god, like Bio-Rave is like this is my thing. Oh my god, like, and I sat, yeah, and like the full body, it was like a yes, like deep, like so like bone shattering yes. I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. So it's like just coming back to that every day, no matter what. Like, yes, I still have doubt. Yes, I'm still wondering how the hell I'm supposed to bring this to other parts of the world. Like, I barely understand what I'm doing here. Like, there's so many things I don't know, but what I do know is the feeling and my soul's wholehearted yes towards the mission and vision, and that like I can't imagine myself doing anything else. And so every time I take I take minutes in the morning to just connect to that and just like re-anchor myself into this is my mission, this is for me, like I'm going to figure it out no matter what. Like I'm supported by the universe and I just get to go through that. So I think for me, excuse me, a daily practice and just like reconnecting with my soul, my body, and like through dancing too. Like dancing is a big confirmation for me about my movement. Because every time I dance, I get like ideas or downloads and I get visions about the movement I'm creating. And so, yeah, it's just like sticking to what feels right and like connecting to that vision and mission every day has really supported me. And yeah, I love to hear what supports you for you to be so expressed on your page and with your business as well.
Oh, first, thank you for sharing all of that. I love that. And it's I feel like it's so funny too, because in getting to witness other powerful women just so embodying their mission, which I literally as soon as I, quote unquote, met you on the internet, I'm like, I feel like we've met in person. Not yet. Not yet. I'm gonna come to one of your events. But it's like imagining a version of you before you'd launched Bio-Rave, like having doubts or feeling like, oh, I don't know, like, can I really believe in myself in this? I'm just like, no, no way. Like the way that you lead yourself with such power and such confidence and such grace. And also, I think it's so powerful to be reminded that we're all humans and we all have insecurities and doubts and fears. And we have those moments of questioning and wavering and bargaining with like, oh, is this really meant for me? And like, oh, can I really do this? But what you said, just like the daily devotion, the daily practice of like, no, it's okay to feel that way. We all feel that way. And I'm not going to let feeling that way stop me from moving forward and taking action. And, one foot, then the next, and the next, and the next, and walking towards your vision and being so ruthless in pursuit of what it is that your soul is meant to create. And you just know that your soul is meant to create it. But I'm not gonna lie, the entrepreneurship journey can be so scary sometimes. And I feel like it's so important to kind of like pull back the veil sometimes and just be like, yeah, it's hard and it's scary. And it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of grit and it takes a lot of grace. But at the end of the day, I know for me, for you, for so many of our entrepreneurship friends out there, it's you wouldn't trade it for anything. Like you
Mm.
wouldn't trade it for anything. Like to be able to be self-expressed and in your soul's work, it's worth every moment of like sitting on the floor going like, I don't know if I can do this. And I'm scared. And like, ah.
Yeah.
Like to like flail on the floor like a floppy fish, like, ooh, this is horrible. But again, like dance like the floppy fish and like flop your way back to being the mermaid that you are and like move your ass. Oh, I love that. And for me, self-expression, I dance really taught me to be big. And I had that realization, I don't know, maybe sometime last year where I was like, what is the medicine of dance for me? I mean, it's so many things. It's somatic practice to move emotions. It's a practice to play and connect to that childlike innocence, like you said. And for me, it was also just such a portal for me to learn how to be big and take up space because culturally growing up, I'm Korean, my mom's side, and Korean women were taught to be small and polite and agreeable, like small in the sense of like physically you better live in a thin, small body because that's what's most aesthetically pleasing, but also energetically, you better be polite and agreeable and small and don't take up too much space. And so I was just such a people pleaser for so much of my life. And I didn't really even know my own preferences or who I really was because it's so busy, like shape shifting and just like molding to whatever scenario and who else is in the room and mirroring other people of like, oh, what do you like? Okay, I like that too. And it was just like, oh, even like the body language of the people pleaser to me, it feels like the shoulders caved in and just kind of the like looking around, like wondering like what should I do? I don't know. And even noticing that language of like, I think and I guess and like I don't know and like literally dance taught me to like throw back my shoulders, straighten my freaking spine and take up space in the room, like physically, but also energetically because to me it's like when someone is dancing it feels like I'm getting to see their soul. Like that's what it feels like. It's like someone's dancing, it's like they're moving and they're flowing and they're in flow with themselves and it's such a gift to see someone in flow with themselves. So for me dance was literally helped me break out of the box of people pleasing and being small and learn to be really big for myself but also big for my mission and my vision as well. And that's why I'll dance every day for the rest of my life and I'll never shut up about how powerful dancing is. And I know you're the exact same way.
Yeah, 100%. I'm the exact same. I'm like, everyone needs to dance. What are you doing? Why are you dancing?
I love that so much.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. Thanks for sharing. Like, because like how you show up is so powerful. And I think, especially depending, like, based on your background and how you were raised and conditioned, yeah, like breaking those molds and breaking the narratives and like using dance to be bigger, to show up differently, to, figure out what you like, how you like to move, how you like to, whatever else preferences in your life. And it probably was a really beautiful experience for you to come back to you and like truly express yourself in all the ways through dance. And I think that's so beautiful.
Mhm. Well, thank you for asking that question and just receiving it. It was helpful for me even just like, like really reflect upon dance is such medicine. It is such nourishment. And again, sometimes it's it's like you have to laugh because sometimes it's always the most simple things that will lead you back to yourself. It's like sometimes it's not so complicated and it's not so difficult and it's not so hard. It's just connecting to yourself, moving, dancing. And one question that just came through. I'm so curious. One, where where do you go for music? Or like when you want to like vibe and dance and music. I'm curious, one, what is your favorite kind of music to dance to? But then also two, I'll have to link in the show notes and things like that. But I'm like, I wonder if Pearl has a playlist.
Oh my gosh, I want yours too. I have multiple playlists, right? Also because I'm in the fitness space and I do teach fitness classes. I teach dance fitness and I also do like my own somatic workshops and stuff. I have a bunch of playlists for so many different things. And so when I have a different, like a specific vibe, depending on what I'm looking for, I have a playlist for that. I have songs I go to for different things. I also love learning new music from people like you, or whenever I go out, actually, because I go out partying a lot. I'm always listening for new songs. I'm like, oh, I like that. I'll Shazam it. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. I'll Shazam a lot of songs. I have a lot of DJ friends, and I get music from them. Like I'll think about like Shazamming their songs or asking them. So I'm always collecting music and like thinking about what music I like. So I have a wide range of music I like to dance to. It's just like so broad. But I think my favorite music to really connect to is something a little more slower, low tempo. I really like bass music, but I also really like music that combines like vocals and like female strong vocals with like a beat or with like something I can like move and groove and just like flow to. I think that's my favorite type of music, something I can really be flowy to. And obviously I love music I can shake my ass to and it's like really get like yeah, because I love yeah. So yeah, I think it's like usually those two, but I also have like in between a spectrum of all different things that feel good to me, but something with a beat that can like really move to is like what I gravitate more towards.
Okay,
Yeah,
wait,
how
I
about
love
you?
that. I was just like instantly curious. I was like, I need to know. Oh my God, I love that so much. And we'll definitely have to do a little like playlist exchange
Yeah.
and just like vibe. I always love, I feel like sharing music with people is like sharing a piece of your soul. It's like this music makes my body want to move, and I wanted to share it with you, which I feel is just so beautiful. And one other thing that came up that I wanted to ask you about, Pearl, is, even in adulthood, making meaningful friendships and finding, whether that's soulful sisterhood or just community where you feel like you're safe to be yourself and you're safe to bring all of you, whether that's the sad, potatoey, just like I'm having a hard day part of you, or the just ecstatically joyful, confident, radiant, like bright part of you. I'm curious, one, what your experience has been like in forming like deep, meaningful connections with people where you feel like you can bring all of you to the table. And if you've ever had those moments of, feeling like, oh, like, am I too vibrant? Am I too bright? Am I dancing too much? Right? Like all of those, like, am I too this, too that? And what it's been like, because I mean, just seeing you at your Bio-Rave events, for example, it just feels like a place where people's walls just kind of come down. And I feel like that's one of the gifts of dance is just like maybe when you first start dancing, like there's that element of like wanting to keep your eyes open and kind of look around the room and go like, oh, am I dancing right? Am I doing this right? But eventually, like, you just kind of hit this point where like the walls start to dissolve and they start to fall down and you just start to feel safe to just be yourself. And I feel like that's one of the things about Bio-Rave and just your movement that I find to be so powerful and so meaningful is that you're literally creating these spaces where people can come together and let their walls fall down and they can just feel so safe to be themselves. Because at the end of the day, as human beings, that's all we really want. We want to be loved and seen and accepted for who we are. And I'm curious, one, for you, what has your journey been like and feeling safe to be yourself no matter who else is in the room, and also how it's felt to create those kind of safe spaces for people to form meaningful friendships because the walls are down, you're just being yourself.
That's such a good question. This is something I actually struggle with a lot, and it's still something I'm working on because when I was younger, I was told I was too loud, I was too big. Like, why are you laughing like that? Why do you dance like that? Like when I go out to dance with my friends, oh, like that makes me uncomfortable. Why do you dance so big? Why blah blah da, 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 And so over time, I learned like, oh, like I need to be quieter. I need to laugh less loud. I need to dim down my light. I need to dance smaller. I need to like compact myself, like, yeah, put myself in the box I didn't want to be in because it made others uncomfortable. So this actually, for a long time, when I would go out to dance, I wouldn't dance as big as I wanted to because I would be like, oh, I don't like, I can't take up that much space. So I would like still go out and dance, but I would like do like 25% of what I wanted to. I'd just be like, like a little
Like some of this when you wanted to be like banging your head, flipping your hair.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I don't want to hurt people or like make them uncomfortable because from my past, people have always been saying this. And then as I got more confident in myself, as I learned how to move more, how to connect more, how to really express, I was like, no, what I'm going to. Because what I noticed was when I did dance bigger, others danced bigger. When I expressed more, others started to be like, oh, she's dancing more. Okay, I can dance more. And I can notice it when I go out now and I just see how the energy shifts when I step into my power. So I was like, it's actually a disservice for me to not dance big, for me to not express, because others then don't as well. So that's been a really powerful thing for me to observe over the years. And then with my events, yeah, like I'm very much like you're safe to do whatever you want here. Like this is your space, dance however you want. Like nothing is, there's no right or wrong when it comes to dance. And I've had so many people say, wow, you created a safe space for me to move however I want to. Even if it just means they want to chill in the back corner and like hang out. I'm like, cool, like it is no right or wrong. And so it's really beautiful to allow others and give them permission to just show up, move how you want to, express how you want to, and then feel safe and loved in that, right? And so when it comes to friendships and stuff, it's still something I'm navigating, but I'm very much more clear about like this is who I am. I'm showing up as me. If you don't love it, that's okay. Like I'll find someone else that loves it. And then just being very intentional when I communicate with others about like, yeah, who I am, like not holding back and just like showing up my full self. And some people love it. Like, of course, some people are just like, oh, it's not the vibe, and that's okay. And coming to terms with like those that are for me are going to be for me. Those that aren't are going to find their other people. And that's perfectly fine. And so, yeah, just building that inner trust and inner confidence to show up, knowing that everything's going to fall into place.
Ah, soul purr.
I love your purrs.
It's just like again, I feel like such a resonance with everything you shared because one, like going from that, like questioning whether growing up you were told like, oh, like please stop, or like don't be that, or that's like embarrassing, or like going at your friends and then kind of being like, girl, like what are you doing? And you're like, I don't know, I'm just being myself. What do you want me to do? But then it's wild how much, whether it's like one little comment somewhere here, one little comment somewhere there, whether it's from a friend, a stranger, you kind of start to contract and start to become a smaller version of yourself because you don't want to hurt people, you don't want to be a bad person, you don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. But then that reframe that you shared of is actually a disservice to humanity for you to make yourself small. It's a disservice to the planet for you to be anything less than the most vibrant, radiant, like wild, free version of yourself. And being able to cultivate that safety within yourself and that inner trust, like you said, of it's actually safe to be me. And if someone doesn't like it, like that's great. They can leave. And like, bye. I'm not gonna be for everyone. And even as an adult, I know sometimes making friends can feel so daunting and so scary because one, people are like, oh, like you'll only go to the bar and like drink and hopefully you'll make friends there or like whatever it is. And it's like having a place where you can go and like make meaningful friendships. And I know for me, this is something that I still navigate too, like that conditioning of like, am I being too much? That like subtle like whiplash you feel where you're just like so free and so alive. And then there can be like some part of you, whether it's in friendships or in relationship or connection, or even just like with strangers, where that there can be that like flicker of like, I don't know, maybe is this safe? Is this too much? And I know for me, especially in sisterhood and relationships with other women, especially when I was first coming into like my self-expression and like sensuality and being expressed in that, I felt so much fear and so much shame and so much like contraction of like, well, what if I make these friendships and then I evolve into a bigger version of myself, more radiant, more shiny, more, whatever it is. And then my friends don't like me anymore, or people don't want to be my friend anymore, whether it's because I make them feel uncomfortable or because they have certain shadows in places where I have a lot of light and their shadows can survive in my light. And then the friendship dissolves. And for the longest time in so many of my friendships, I lived with that like subtle flicker of fear of I'm not safe to evolve or grow. Because what if I outgrow friendships, or like all the like what if worst case scenarios that our brain likes to project in an effort to keep us safe from disappointment or pain or whatever it might be. And oh, there you are.
Oh my
I'm curious for you, in your journey of self-expression and being radiant and being bold, what it's been like for you to navigate friendships. Do you feel like the more you've stepped into Bio-Rave and your mission and your purpose, do you feel like friendships have shifted, or you've made new friendships, or some friendships have dissolved, or what has it been like for you to navigate in relationship, whether that's with your family or friends or whatever it might be? Because I do feel like for so many people who want to be self-expressed, who want to be like metaphorically, but also like literally like the biggest versions of themselves on the dance floor, so often what holds people back is like, I'm scared of what people are going to think of me. I'm scared that my friends aren't going to like me anymore. And that fear of, well, if you let go of something, what if something doesn't come in to take its place? And that like fear of transition or like emptiness or being alone that can feel so like contracting, and like allowing yourself to be big and stand tall and like spine straight, chin up.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear your thoughts on this too, because of how you show up as well. But there has been moments for sure. People fall apart. People I'm not friends with as much anymore, and people I'm getting closer with. Because as you evolve, know that's gonna happen, right? Know that you're going to become more of you and like navigate and get clear on what you like. And then people that fuck with that are gonna be like, oh yeah, that's the vibe. Like I love this. People that actually aren't going to. And what I've noticed is like A lot of people will ebb and flow into my life, but those that actually truly align are going to stay. People often find my light shows them what they need to work on, just like I'm a mirror for them, and that
Yeah.
makes them uncomfortable because I'm sober. I don't drink. I don't go out for drinks. Like my friends know that I'm not going to go out for drinks with you. I'll come dancing with you 100%, and I'm going to be sober, and I'm going to probably be the one dancing the most there. And if you're okay with that, amazing, let's go. But like people often feel, and I get this feedback sometimes from friends, are like, yeah, I'm intimidated by you because like you just are, all these things that you are, and it's beautiful, but makes me remember like, oh shit, like, right, I don't actually want to drink. Oh, right, I wish I was more confident. Well, I wish I could dance like that. And it makes them reflect and feel bad. But that's like based on where they're at. And I'm like, I'm just an example of what you could be if you really committed to what you desire, right? And so it's just people that are willing to be around someone that expands them. Those are my people. People that aren't, maybe they'll come around later and that's okay. And so I've had friendships ebb and flow. I've had people, tell me that I'm intimidating, things like that. But I just know that the more I'm myself, the better I'm doing. It's a gift for me to be me, and it feels good to me. Like that's all that matters, that it feels good to me. And if it benefits others, amazing. And with family too, like my dad, he's so like, I don't drink very much at all. Like if I do, it'd be like once a year at Christmas, for example. But it was like Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving, Easter, right? Like a month ago. And I went over to my family's place for dinner, and they always have wine at dinner. And I love that for them. I was like, I'm not gonna have any. And my dad's like, oh my God, like, it's like, I didn't raise like this wine, but he's like mumbling. I'm like, Dad, you're gonna realize like I don't like drinking wine. You know what I mean? Like it's just get over it, and just like things like that, people are gonna have to deal with. And so either they love you or they don't. My dad's gonna get over it eventually. My friends are gonna get over the fact that I don't go out and drink with them, but it's also like a blessing that I'm still able to be in that space and like just be me fully without feeling like, oh, I'm pressured to drink. Oh, I just get to be me, and it feels really beautiful. And knowing that, yeah, friends are gonna come and go, and I just get to do me, and people that love me are gonna love me, just like you. And it's like I made so many friends from Bio-Rave. People are like, I love what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And so the people that are meant for you are gonna come into your life, and that's gonna be more fulfilling and more meaningful than the people that are leaving. So I always focus on that, like what's actually coming in. Now that I'm able to let that go, because there's always more abundance to come when you're in more alignment, right?
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, yes, I was dancing, and I also feel like the whole time we were talking, I was like, it's also, I find it no coincidence that you're able to hold your own in that way and trust that the more of you allow yourself to be, the more beautiful things are going to come into your life, whether it's friendships, relationships, and being willing to shine brightly in alignment with your own soul. I find it no coincidence that like you dance every day and you're building all that confidence and strength and resiliency, because it does take strength and resiliency to be able to stand tall even when people are like, ugh, you make me uncomfortable. I find you intimidating. Oh, you're showing me places where like I want to grow and I haven't. And that's like annoying to me. It's like it takes resiliency to be the friend that's willing to be like, I'm going to hold this mirror up for you. And if you want to take a step forward in your own life in this area, then like I'm going to cheer you on when you do it. And if you don't, then that's okay. And it's not going to stop me from being who I am. It's like that's just like I like feel the dance medicine encoded in that confidence. Like, oh, it's so good.
Yes, the dance medicine, but truly it is like you said, and even I'm sure that's how you've been able to show up how you do, right? Like with how you dance. And even, oh my God, when you posted that reel of you naked and like it was blurred out, obviously, and I was like, yes, bitch, like even that, like I would shit my pants. Oh my God. But you were just like, oh, like so graceful in it. I'm like, bless her soul. It's like, yes, naked Michelle. Oh, give me life.
Like that makes me so I'm receiving that reflection so fully. And you know what's so funny is that I was like, I posted that and I was like, only after I posted it, I was like, was that like a lot? I was like, I don't know. I was like, it's not like I was actually naked. It was blurred out. So it's like Instagram's not gonna freak out, right? But it's so funny because a couple of years ago, like posting a video where it's like obvious that like I was naked when I was dancing, I would have been like, my Korean ancestors are rolling over in their grave. Like, we moved to this country so you could dance naked on the internet. Like, I would have been like, my friends are gonna be like texting me, like, Michelle, are you okay? Like, my family's gonna be like, oh, like, we gotta round up Michelle and like get her in therapy because she's clearly losing her mind. Like, I would have been freaking out. But instead, it was just like, because I know the medicine that is dance. And to be honest, like I dance naked all the time. All the time. It's like so freeing to dance naked. And to me, it's just I understand the medicine and the magic. And for me, dance is like we talked about earlier, it's like a walk home to innocence and play and connection to our body and self-love. And I think back to like a version of me in, I don't know, like a 21-year-old Michelle, who like I remember my 21st birthday, I went to like a liquor store and bought like Fireball of all things. I like literally that's what I chose to buy. Like, and I'm just thinking back to that version of me, like watching that reel, she would have been like, what the actual fuck? I've lost my mind. I'm crazy. but but as it turns out, like, quote unquote crazy in a lot of senses, it's just code for free. It's like, is she crazy or is she just free? Is she just at home? Does she just feel safe with herself? Does she just feel safe with her pleasure? And and to me, it feels like when you can walk around in the world feeling safe with yourself and safe to be in your pleasure and in your delight and allow life to be enchanting, it's like that's living. And I feel like dance is magic and medicine that allows you to walk yourself to that place where you're so unwilling to entertain any other kind of life than one where you get to be your most radiant, full, vibrant, silly, wild, whatever it is, self, whatever you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just the evolution of realizing that like you, for example, showing up like that, it's like you showing your medicine. Like I, I dance naked. We all have naked bodies. It's not like it's like a, oh my God, the only naked body I've ever seen. It's like we all do this. Like I dance naked every day, actually. And so just like you're just sharing it, and that's a piece of you, and it's beautiful. And so yeah, I think it's just so cool to have that type of confidence and through the dance medicine and just through knowing that this is something you're sharing that's bettering the world and it's helped people reflect and be like, oh wow, like look at Michelle and her freedom, like her freedom to dance naked, her freedom to show up as she how she does, dance how she does, right? And inspires others, inspires me. I'm like, wow, like how can I be more free and more expressed in my shit too? And so I love that. It's so good. So good.
It's so good. And one question I always like to ask, I feel like a lot of people don't know that when I started the Happy Ho Life podcast, it has a dual meaning, like ho as in like ho, like live your best happy whole life. Like do whatever you want, be in your pleasure. But also to me, ho stands for heaven on earth and being so open to creating your own heaven on earth. And I'm curious
Mm.
for you, Pearl. I'm imagining like a dance party rave. But I'm curious for you, like what in your just like heart of hearts, soul of souls, when you think about, when you feel into the vision of your heaven on earth in your life, where you're just blissed out in pleasure, in overflow, just life is so good to you. I'm curious, what does your heaven on earth, what comes to mind?
Oh
What
my
is
God. I actually love that. I don't know if I've seen that. Maybe I missed it, but Heaven on Earth, it's so beautiful. Mm. For me, I think like on the internal piece, I've already achieved my heaven on earth because like my internal world is so juicy. Like I love myself so much and I've built that from nothing. Like I used to really not love myself. And so like I can just be so happy, so content with myself, with music, with movement, with like how I speak to myself, how I love myself. Like I think I'm the funniest, fucking best woman in the world. Like I'm just like, bro, you're amazing. Like I just love me, but that's the internal world. But externally, like my heaven on earth is really helping others reach what I've achieved in my internal world. And that's actually what I teach in my programs, what I'm doing with Bio-Rave and with my movement. And like, I want everyone and anyone that wants to obviously take the leap to achieving what I call is like a lit up life, which is what you call heaven on earth, like a life that lights them up and where they're just so confident, happy, courageous, like going after their dreams, like no doubts, like, and if you have doubts, you know how to move through them, like just living the life that they have always dreamed. And for me, that looks like having big parties all over the world, looks like having a festival, doing retreats, having hundreds of women dancing and loving themselves, like expressing through movements, having people work on improving their well-being and their mental health. Like that's what I see, and that's what I'm working towards building. And for me, that's heaven through sharing people, sharing what I've done with others as well. And so, yeah, that's what I would say.
I like felt my whole body just like open. Like I was literally breathing more deeply as you were speaking. I feel like everything you were saying, I was like, this is like a moving meditation for my soul. Just like so powerful. And I love, Pearl, I freaking love so much that you brought it to in your internal world, like in your inner landscape. You're like, it is heaven on earth. Like I was imagining your inner landscape, like this just like lush, magical place with like flowers and rivers and streams and jungles and just like filled to the brim with just like all these good things because you've cultivated that for yourself. And how powerful to be. Like, I feel like that's one of like the most beautiful things that ever could come out of a human's mouth. It's like I feel so good. I love myself so much. Like that is such a gift. And then when you were like, externally, my heaven on earth is helping other people create that inner landscape for themselves. I was like, I like melted. I literally was just like, I melt. It's just so, so beautiful and it was so magical. And even just getting to spend this time on this podcast with you and getting to like bask in your presence. Cause I'm like, wait, this is our first time we've ever like talked in real time. Like we've like voice noted and like chatted on like Instagram. I'm like, wait, we've never actually like gotten to speak in real time. And just getting to sit with you for this hour of just receiving your medicine and your voice and your expression and your wisdom has just been so nourishing for me. So I just wanted to like beam all the love and gratitude your way for being here. And the last question I always love to ask people is what are you celebrating and acknowledging about yourself? And then, of course, we have to go over where people can connect with you because I can't imagine anyone listening to this episode and not wanting to immediately run to like, where can I get more of this woman?
Oh, it's been such a pleasure, honestly. Thank you for reflecting that. And I've just been so grateful to have you in my corner, in my world, that we cross paths. And I know you're like a soul sister, and I just can't wait to meet. Anyway, okay, before I start crying,
Right? Me too. I'm like,
what I'm celebrating and acknowledging about myself, and I love that question, by the way, is just my commitment to my inner work, because that's allowed me to want to share that with others. Like, just despite all the shit I've been through, is a commitment to doing my daily habits, dancing every day, doing everything that I do on a regular basis to create such a strong inner space where now I'm like, yes, and then now I'm going to do this for others. And I really celebrate about myself because that's like one of the best things I think I could do for people that end up crossing my path is like being someone that can then support others in the journey I've been through. As I celebrate that about myself, and also like anyone that also does that work, like you, like anyone else too. Like it's such a beautiful thing to celebrate because it's one thing to do that for yourself and to really change your life within, but there's also another thing to do it for others. And so that's been really beautiful. And I celebrate that because yeah, it's been a journey and it hasn't been easy, but I think it's fulfilling when you can help others achieve the same. And where you can find me, well, I'm sure Michelle will have the links below, but on
yes.
Instagram at Pearl Cicci is my personal, like my business account for health. And then I have bio.rave, which is my Instagram account for my Bio-Rave movement. And if you want to connect, just please reach out to me, DM me. I have links in my bio, my stories, whatever you want to check out, but we'll love to connect with you and chat about anything you resonate with in this episode. I'm so happy again. Thank you for having me, you beautiful soul.
My pleasure. Oh, thank you so much for being here, Pearl. I'll also say I'm like, watch Pearl's stories. Like I feel like I watch your stories and I'm like, eat more plants, do more dance. Check. Yes, I will do that. Oh, so thank you again so much. And thank you to everyone who is listening. And as always, if there's a piece that resonated with you, if you had any takeaways from this episode, feel free to share in your stories. You can tag both of us. Of course, we always love to hear anything that resonated with you. And thank you again, Pearl, so much for being here. This was such a gift.
Thank you.
All right.